Dear friends of Love for Volleyball, Amor por el Voleibol, today I have the pleasure of speaking with a former player from the Netherlands, a member of our country's national team, who participated in 2 Olympic Games and won the European Championship in 1995. I mean Henriette Weersing, who speak kindly to me today. Hello, Henriette, how are you?
Hello, and hello to everybody who is watching this this interview. I'm very fine, and I'm happy that we are going back to normal life now after 3 weeks of very high level volleyball. And as most of the people know, it was in the Netherlands, and that's where I come from. So I've been there too. I've seen a very nice match, Holland, Italy, but unfortunately we were not lucky to win that one. But there was a very nice ambience, and with more than 10,000 people watching the game.
Yes.
And we were invited by the federation. Because in the history of our federation, we have the Dutch Federation was celebrating his 75 years of existence, and for that and organizing the World Championship in Netherlands, they decided to do a lot of things in between the several matches, and one of those things was the commemoration, if you want to, or the celebration of the 3 teams that won a gold medal for the Dutch national team, and I'm one of the lucky ones that was in one of those teams. And so I have seen a lot of my ex-teammates, and also we have a group of ex-former volleyball players, and when there is a match for the national team in the Netherlands, we try at least 1 or 2 times a year to come together and to watch this match together. And then we have lunch or dinner together. So we had a very, very beautiful day in the Netherlands in one of those matches.
Fantastic to hear what you're saying. As I told you outside the camera, I'm a big fan from Dutch volleyball, and have the great opportunity to talk with many coaches and players from Netherlands. And I before we start talking about your volleyball career, I agreed with you. The World Championship was fantastic. From, for example, the stadium. For example, the stadium in Anaheim, if I'm not wrong, it was a big soccer football stadium.
Yes.
Transformed in a 3
3 courts.
Courts, excuse me, volleyball court. It was amazing, incredible what they done over there. And obviously the semi-final was fantastic. The TV transmission, it was amazing to watch so many good volleyball. Fantastic niveau from the females team. It was amazing. And I wanted to ask you before we talk about your career, why do you think the Dutch team couldn't reach more heights in this championship or in the last BNL leagues or for this kind of international championships? Why do you think it's happening with the female team?
Of course, I have to watch out what I'm saying now, because it is my opinion, but also we spoke about it with my former ex-teammates, and with a lot of them I'm still in contact. And of course, we are following everything what the national team is doing also in the last few years. So we see what happened. And of course, they appointed the World Championships to the Netherlands some years ago.
Yeah.
And it is not something that happened last year, so you have 1 year to prepare. This is what happens like 3 or 4 years before, or even more. So when the Netherlands asked for the organization, the Dutch national team was on a very, very high level, and I think the idea was in this year, a lot of these players that were in the team then would have reached an age that was nice, maybe also to close the international career with a very nice performance.
Yes.
But in the meantime, a lot of things happened, and I think it started with the resigning of Giovanni Guidetti, because when Guidetti was with our national team, he put a very strong mental thing in the team, and they were improving a lot, and technically they were very high already, but mentally they were always suffering. When the moment was there, they did never have their best performance. So Giovanni Guidetti was pushing very tough this team.
Yes.
They were feeling very strong together. Then at a sudden, Giovanni made another decision. He resigned and he went to Turkey. His wife is Turkish,
Okay.
and he made a decision that a lot of players didn't like. And so I think that was the start, that something very small broke inside some of these players. You have to know that the Dutch players, I don't know what to say. They don't see it just like a work. For maybe some players can see it more a work, and they say, okay, whoever is in front of the team, for me, it's okay. I just do my work. I want to play the best. I cannot speak for other countries, but I can speak for how the Dutch players are mentally. And they need something strong in front of the team.
Okay.
So it was a little bit difficult. Who is going there to stay now in front of the team? The team was not ready still. The work of Giovanni wasn't finished yet. And so then the federation choose for an inside solution. And Avita Selinger came back in front of this national team. But the most of these players in the beginning, when they started their career, they already had, for some people, even for 8 years, Avita Selinger, maybe for 4 years.
Yes.
And I think the older players were finished with Avital. And with this, I will never say that Avital is not a good trainer. I think technically he is one of the best trainers, coaches we have in the Netherlands. He knows everything about volleyball, and he's a real like Wikipedia of the volleyball. But to give something extra on this team in that moment, maybe I'm not sure if he was the right person.
Okay.
But there was no alternative, so he was there. And I cannot see in the budget of the national team, I don't know if there was money to take another coach or trainer, or if there were other possibilities, but they choose for this situation. And I think that was the reason that some of the players didn't come back for the national team. They decided to stop, and there were too many players not there. So I think the Netherlands, starting with the VNL and then finishing with this World Championship, we didn't have the best team that we could have to play this World Championship. And it's a real pity, because if you organize it in your best country, you need to have your best players over there. So maybe they have to look back a little bit to see if they did it in the right way, if they had to speak with the players about the ideas and about the feelings, and because there was a lot of feeling also inside. And the female players are different from the man player. The man player are more like what I said before. Whoever is in front of the team, they just play. The women, they need a leader, and they need to follow someone with the heart. And then we have the best performance. If they don't believe in the project, you can sit them on the bench, let them sit on the bench, or you can leave them at home, because they will never perform on their highest level.
Absolutely.
But this is my opinion, of course.
Absolutely, and I agree with you what all you're saying. It's very interesting. And now turning back to you, Henriette, I want to ask you, please, if you tell me, when did you start playing volleyball, and why you choose volleyball for a sport?
It's pretty curious. I started to do gymnastics from, I think I was 4 or 5 years old. And when I was 6, they asked me to go in a selection for gymnastics on a higher level. So from when I was very young, I already did gymnastics, I think, every day. So every day I went in the gym. and I was thinny, and I was tall, but not very, very tall. And then I came on the age of about 14, and then in 1 year, from 14 to 15, I grew like 18 centimeters in 1 year, and I became a woman, like 20 kilos more or something like that. And I was not coordinated anymore, and the gymnastic was too difficult for me. And I thought, okay, this is okay, individual sport. I want to do something with others, because in the gymnastics you have different things. You have individual performance, but you have also like a team performance. So we did both, and I liked always more doing with a team. My sister played basketball, and my best friend, the brother, played basketball. And I said, okay, basketball, but okay, no, it's not what I like. And I wanted to play handball.
Okay.
But because at school I was very good in handball, and I thought, okay, I'm good in handball. Maybe I can go handball. We had a good team also in my hometown, and then my father said, "Bah, handball is not really a good sport for women. Maybe you should look for something else." And then my sister, she changed. She was a swimmer. My both sisters, I have two sisters, older sister, and they were all swimming. But they were in the pool from 7 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't like that. So, and then she changed my youngest sister from the two. She changed from the swimming to the basketball, and I said, okay, no basketball. And a friend of mine, she said, I'm going to try the volleyball. Why don't you come with me? And I went to the volleyball, and I liked it. And in the third volleyball training, I broke my ankle immediately. So I was has hospital and everything. So that wasn't very good, start. And this happened in April, and then I recovered. And in September I started again, and then it was going very quickly. And then they thought that I was a talent. So in a year time, I played in 3 different teams, from the first team to the youth team to a selection. And then I changed. When I was 18, I went to study, and I went to a place called Snake. That's about a little bit more than 1.5 hours from my hometown. Mm-hmm. And so I was going to study over there, and I was going physical education. That is what I studied. And then the coach of the team of Snake, that was in the first division in the Netherlands, he called me if I wanted to go to this team, to Snake. And in the beginning I said, I don't know, too high level, because I was coming from 3 levels lower, and I was playing only for 3 years volleyball. So that's a very short time. And then he said, no, you just come, and then we'll see how it goes. And my parents agreed, and I went there, and I stayed there for 6 years. And every year we won the Dutch championship. And then it went very quickly, because after 3 months that they asked me to come to this highest level team, I was invited for the national team too.
Okay. And how was this experience for you? Because I am, as I mentioned, you also, I talked with Peter Murphy and Job Albert about that in Netherlands. Volleyball is not a professional, as you told me, or there's not many, or maybe non-club, a professional club for volleyball players. So many players play outside Netherlands. So how was it for you to play in the national team and open your eyes to the world of volleyball and see that many possibilities for a young player, a female player from the Netherlands outside her country? How was it for you?
In the beginning, for me, you have to understand that I came from a small village, and I didn't know very much about the volleyball international level and everything. But when I was invited after 3 months for the national team, I started to do, of course, a lot of tournaments. And then I was looking around me. But for me, it was also very difficult to leave my home. So I was nostalgic and I missed my mother. And so for me, it was not very important to look outside. So after 3 years that I was in we call it Eredivisie, so it's like the first league. The 3 years after I was in the Eredivisie and I was in the national team, the teams from Italy and also Brazil and Japan, they started to call me. And I said, no, I'm not, I'm staying in Holland, And I wasn't ready because I started to play volleyball very late, because when I changed, at the end, I was 16 almost when I really started. And the first 3 years, I played on a very low level. And only from when I was 19, 18, but almost 19, I started with the highest level. So I had to recover the time I've lost before, because a lot of players, they start at 11 or 12 years old, and they have a lot of fundamentals technically that they play better. And I had to recover. So I had to start with the defense. For me, only attack was the only thing that existed. No block, no defense, and no idea. And it was like I had an accelerated course with all my coaches. And I even remember there was always a very important tournament in Bremen in Germany in January. And later on, this was also one of the qualification tournaments for the Olympic Games.
Okay.
I remember that every morning before we had a game or before we started our training, I had 1 hour with my Chinese trainer, Mr. Wu Qiangpang, who taught me a lot of good fundamentals, and only for block, from 7 to 8 in the morning, every morning, blocking, and then defense, always extra. I had to do a lot of extra things. So I just was thinking about getting better, and I wasn't not yet thinking about going to another country. And when they start calling me, it was very easy to say no, I wasn't ready. And I wanted to also, because my father was sick, and my father unfortunately died during the European Championships in '87 when we were in Belgium. And I promised that I would have finished my school or my study before I made any other decision.
Perfect.
So I first wanted to finish my study. I finished my study in '89, and I decided to do another extra year of specializing in how do you say it, in marketing, sports marketing, and management. And so I did 1 extra year. And in 1991, I was ready to go there. So in '91, finally, I accepted. We did the final 4 of the Champions League, and I still remember in Zagreb, just 2 weeks before the war started. And we played against Zagreb and Uralochka, if I don't miss it, and Olimpia Teodora Ravenna. And so somebody from Ravenna came to me. This was in February, and they told him '91, and they said, Ravenna wants you. That was, I still remember, he was watching me. Ravenna wants you. And everybody in Europe wanted to play in Ravenna, because Ravenna had Manuela Banelli, like a setter, and that moment she was really the best setter, I think, at the moment, together with Irina Kirillova, of course. But that was my dream. If I wanted to play with a setter like this. So for me, I didn't say yes, of course, because we didn't speak about the money, contract, anything. But I already made my decision in February '91 to come to Italy, to the team of Olimpia Teodora Ravenna. And I think it was the best choice I ever made. And after, I think, 2 or 3 years I was in Italy, I said, oh, I was stupid. I had to come before. I said no, because I wasn't ready for me. But maybe if I came earlier, I don't know what happened. You never know that, but I could have come earlier. So, and I'm still here in Italy after 31 years.
So great. Well, Europe is so small, so we in South America we talk about more distance between our countries. And you said, yeah, something about my new question, my next question about when you started to thinking or believing that volleyball could be your life, your professional life, your professional projection. You told me, I think it started in Italy with Ravenna, but sometimes I have talked with other players. Many didn't know that volleyball, when they started to playing as a young player in school or starting the national teams, that volleyball is something to live with, to make a profession. Many players, as you keep are still involved in volleyball, and so I wanted to ask you about this decision. How was it for you personally, with your family? You told me you're very tied to your mother, to your brothers, and how was it for you to leave your country? I know it's very near Italy to Netherlands, but how was it for you and started a job? Volleyball, professional volleyball is a job. It's a very tough job, I know. But how was it for you as a woman from Netherlands to be in touch with international players, to make friends, good friends, and these teams? And how was it for you to be able to play in one of the best leagues in the world?
Yeah, now you are questioning this. I remember that I didn't answer your former question 100%.
Don't worry.
So when I was in Holland, I only in the first 3 or 4 years, I think, I was training only 4 times a week. And a lot of teams, yes, because this was your question, a lot of teams still in the Netherlands, they don't have training every day because they are still studying or someone is working, because like you said, it is not a full professional, and this is a big problem, because this means that the league in the Netherlands is a low level, and or you're good and you go to another country, but this means that you have to or interrupt your study, or you have to give up your job, and you don't have insurance, and a lot of things are coming up. You don't have the money for when you are retiring or something like that.
Yes.
So it is not easy. Some people, they just don't dare. And even my parents, they were a little bit I don't know, because you cannot live with the money you have in the volleyball. There's no money. And something changed in my last year. That was I was in Snake, and we started for the first time to be professional. And the first time we did a collaboration with my club team that's called Aveiro Snake and the national team. So we trained 2 times on Tuesday and on Friday, a combination with our club team, because everybody was also part of the national team, like Olympia, Teodora, Ravenna, everybody was in the national team. So, and then other players that were in the national team, they traveled every Tuesday and Friday to Snake to make one combination of this training. But of course, you can do this and the trainings were 4 hours, because we had a system of side out. It's not that every ball was a point, so we had longer games, so the training was longer. So we had 4 hours from 2 to 6, the training, and we from Snake also in the morning we did training, so or reception and service training or weightlifting, of course. And this was of course we had for the first time something like a contract. So that was the only year they had. But then we are speaking about that's peanuts, like something like I think we had something between 800 or 1,000 florins, or like now maybe euros in a month, and that was it. But I paid my own rent of the apartment, and everybody paid his own things. But for us, it was already good. And then, of course, you choose to go to another country, and then you realize, okay, so this is going to be my job. But I never choose it thinking about I can do this until I'm 30 or 35. Never. I never thought about what could happen in the future. I always live very much at the moment.
Okay.
But my idea was more do some years here in Italy and then go back to the Netherlands, because, like I said, I was pretty tight with my mother, and I lost my father, and I didn't think about staying for a long time in Italy, just some years, just to see how is life like a real volleyball player, and to play on the highest level, especially here in Europe. That was like it was for me. And only now, because still, now you have Zoom, you have Skype, we didn't have anything. We only had one telephone at home, no mobile phone. I think that maybe some people who is watching now say, "What? How is that possible?" I even did have a direct flight going to Amsterdam. I always fly to Bologna. That's my nearest airport,
Yeah.
because I still live on the coast between Ravenna and Rimini, and so I go from Bologna. And in those years, I had to change flight, or in Munich, or in Switzerland, or in Frankfurt, or in Brussels. And only after maybe 5 or 6 years, they started with direct flights. So it was not easy. And if you never have one weekend. So if we had 2 days, I needed 2 days to travel. So I never went home. So it wasn't easy. I knew if I made a choice that it was difficult to see family and friends, of course.
Yes, yes. And how was your experience with the national team? I know you played 2 Olympic games and won a European championship. How was it for you? And I sometimes also ask many people about that sometimes if you win some championship, but you don't feel that you have played well, but you played another championship, for example, Olympic game. You didn't win the Olympic Games, but you felt very good. You played well. How was it for you? Do you prefer remembering the experience of winning a European championship or playing in an Olympic game? How was it for you in your insight of a human being and a volleyball player?
I have a bad character, because I am a perfectionist.
Okay.
So for me, I always can play better. I always thought I can do better. If they ask me what was your perfect game, I don't know, because I think for me, I know one game against South Korea that was in Atlanta Olympic Games. I think that I attacked something like 130 balls, and I didn't recover from that game, of course, physically, because that was maybe the 5th or the 6th game. So it was already, the next one was the quarterfinals to Russia. And it was difficult for me to recover. Also because it's, people see physically that you attack 130 balls, but I still did a jump serve. I was blocking, defending, but mentally also you are very involved. I was always a person that was talking a lot in the court, and together with Sinta Boersma, she was our captain. We were the leaders of the group, so you were still busy also with the players around you, and that is also eating, if I can say that, eating a lot of your energy. So it was very tough to recover. But this game, we won that game. And in those years, Asiatic games like Japan, China, and South Korea were very, very strong. So it was very nice to see that we won from South Korea. We went to the quarterfinals. And I think for me, that was one of the almost perfect games I did. But I repeat, I always thought about the things I could have done better, and I had to block more like in a parallel to this player, or I had to dig that one, and always. So I only can tell you that if you ask me when I had the nicest sensation after that we won something, That was when we beat Italy in Italy during the European Championships in '91 in Rome. And after these European Championships, I stayed here. That was when I started to play for Ravenna. So almost all my new teammates were in front of me, and we beat them. And I also made the last point. And for the first time, we qualified for the Olympic Games for Barcelona. And I think so, not even the final, but the semi-final. That was, I think, for me, the most important match for my whole life, because we came from a very difficult moment, because in the European Championships of '89, we didn't even qualify.
Okay.
We didn't even qualify. And then Peter Murphy, our coach, for me, I think the most important coach I had in my whole career, because he was for me, the most difficult moment of my personal life and in my volleyball life. He was there and he helped me so much. And he helped us up to stand up again after this misqualification in '89 for these European Championships. And then he organized a survival camp.
Okay.
I guess he had the idea of Doug Beal. He did it with the Americans. And then after that we did it, we went on television and we became almost something like famous in Holland. So, and also the soccer team of Ajax, very important team in the Netherlands, they did the same. And this was an idea of Peter Murphy. And I think this changed something in our heads. And from there, we really became mentally, I think, professional. So we changed a lot of things in our behaviors, in our thoughts, in our ideas. And it's difficult to explain in 5 seconds what happened. But I think that was one of the best moments I had in my volleyball career.
Fantastic. And I think the 1995 European Championship was the crown of this, all this effort, all this work with Peter and your teammates, and beating. I'm sure you beat
Croatia.
Croatian team, exactly.
With Barbara Jelic, yes.
Absolutely. So great team, so many great players, and I'm as I always do this reflection about, for me it's very important to talk with people like you, because today we have the happiness or the fortune to watch so many volleyball and social media and internet. We watch the World Championship, the VNL, all the leagues in America Latina and in Europe. So for me it's a big honor to can communicate and to show, especially the young players from today, that before them there was so much volleyball also in the 80s and the 70s. I could interview a player from Chile. He played in the 50s here in Chile. It's incredible. So that's because I love to talk with people like you, who have so great volleyball careers. I have a great envy of this, because in Chile we didn't have so many leagues and experience. But for me, it's very happy it's happiness to know that so many people around the world love volleyball. So it's fantastic. And I wanted to ask you now about when you started playing volleyball. You told me you didn't know so much about the international volleyball, but do you have some player, maybe a Dutch player or international player who you admired, or who you thought maybe I want to play like her, or you were motivated to play like her, or maybe not?
I think this started a little bit later for me, because I like I said, I did gymnastics until I was 15, and then I started to play volleyball. It seems like I just started like a joke, and then I was in a small village, and we just played a little bit between our region, and that was it. But when I started and on the highest level, my first tournament was in Germany.
Women.
in a Sindelfingen.
Okay,
Sindelfingen was in December.
Mhm.
And then you had every year you had a tournament in Apeldoorn in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And then after in Bremen. These
Okay.
were Apeldoorn, Bremen were always December, January, the two tournaments that we did for many years.
Yes.
In these tournaments, if you think that I was playing in June on like a second or third division, and after 3 months I was in a national team, and I had to play against Cuba.
Oh.
So and Cuba was the best
tough.
country in the whole world. Of course,
Yeah.
I didn't even see the ball. I was playing from the beginning when I started in the national team. I don't know why, but they put me in the basic starting six always, and I never left. I always was in the starting six, and I don't know, maybe from outside they saw more talent in me than I saw myself, but that was, I think, why I grow so quickly. And I had some experienced player around me, like Caroline Keulen, Agnes Brunninghuis, Petra van der Linde, and Maartje de Vries. These are the four most important Dutch players before I came. And I learned so much. Oh, Ingrid Piersma. I learned so much from these players. And I think I didn't even understand what was happening when Cuba was starting to attack. So we saw the the warming up, and then you start up your jump, and then we saw the Cubans always did something like let's show who we are. So they start warming up, attacking, and they attack in front of your feet, and you say, "Oh my God, how am I going to play against these girls?" And then, of course, I saw Mireia Lewis, and I said, "This is impossible. You are short. You are so short. You cannot play on this level." And for me, it was like her. And I still think that we never had a player like Mireia. In this moment, we look at Gabi from Brazil. She is also very short, and she is very athletic. But I think Mireia was different. She had not only the elevation, but also she was so nice as person. And when she transformed, when she was in the court, she was like, you saw she had something extra.
Yes.
So for me, she was someone I was watching, I was looking to, and then I was so very, very happy that because I had a chance to play together with Mireia when I played in Bergamo. The first time, I don't know if people know, from 96, 97, almost were the years that some Cubans, they were not happy anymore to stay only in Cuba. Also, they wanted to start to earn some money. So when Cuba men and women team were going to Europe, some players didn't return to their home country.
Yes.
So in Cuba, they always had closed their frontiers, but then they understood they had to do something. So they released their older players like Magali Carvajal, Regla Torres, and Mireia, Mirka Francia. They released them, and they said, "Okay, you can go to Italy." Of course, the Federation of Cuba took money for that. Yes. And Mireia came to our team in Bergamo because I was there. We had only 2 foreigners in those years in the team, and I was there together with Susanne Lama, very nice German, yes. East Germany first, and then of course then they were together. And but she was injured, so we had the opportunity to have Mireia with us, but Mireia was not physically on her best. She had problems with the shoulder. So it was difficult for her to play. But if you see, I think that I have never seen a player like her, a person like her that helps so much the team, even not playing, being injured. And I admired her before and after, maybe even more after I played together with her. I think she is really, really an example for how a perfect volleyball player needs to be.
I have also the opportunity to talk with her, and as you told me, she's an incredible person very warm,
Really.
nice. But when she was on the court, she transforms into a lioness.
Lion, a lion.
And,
Incredible.
and she told me that they do what you said. They shouted to the rival, so to intimidate them. And many teams were scary to play against Cuba. So they overpassed them, not only physically or technically, but also mentally. So
No, mentally, you know what they did. Well, I don't know if people know that, because when you stay in the tournament, of course, you eat in the same big restaurant, and but it happened to us that we had on the same time lunch or dinner with Cuba.
Okay.
And of course, you have the sports menu, and then you have a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit. In those years, of course, in Cuba, they didn't have, and they still don't have, much money, and maybe not even so much food like they see in Europe. So what happened? We knew that if we had to eat together with the Cuban team, we had to be very quickly, otherwise everything was gone. And what they did, they knew that we knew that, so we were almost running to see who was the first taking the bananas. It was like a war, the banana war. And because if we knew, okay, there are no bananas, and we watched on the table of the Cuban, they had all our bananas. So, but this is already mentally, maybe also, I don't know if they did it on purpose, or it was just because they were hungry, or just they liked it. I don't know. But for many years this happened, and I can so laugh about this thing, of course. But we already knew, there was some kind of war going on from the first moment that you saw Cuba, because so much respect for this team. So it was such a good team, and the only team playing with two setters. So the system 2-4. Everybody's plays 1-5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was an old system that from the 70s of the 60s, with two setters and four attackers. But both setters were very good attackers also.
Attackers, and Russia the same. And Cuba, Russia, same system. The only thing that was that Russia had a defense system different, because the second setter in the backcourt was never behind, was always in the middle of the court, defending all the tip balls. And Cuba had a different system in the defense, but they are all very good attackers. And the Cuban setters were very much better than the Russian attackers, of course. But very old system. But they insisted for many years, even if in the whole world everybody was playing 1-5, they played 2-4.
That's the beauty of volleyball, because I love so much volleyball, and now as we speak, we could watch the World Championship. It was amazing to watch the Italians, the Brazilians, the Japanese have a very tough team, very very strong team. Even if they don't not always are tall players, then in defense it's absolutely madness how they defend.
Incredible.
The Dutch team, I like very much the Dutch team, even as you told me what happened, and obviously the Serbian team, it's outside this world. Volleyball is growing, is so beautiful, and I wanted to ask you about this, about what happened with you after you played as a professional players, and you decided to stay in Italy. What was your life after you was a professional players, and what do you decide to do after you stopped playing?
I played my last year. I said to my manager, okay, I think it will be my last year. And I was already 37 years old. So, and physically, physically, I was having some trouble. I had to go to the physiotherapist every day to stay in good health. And I am very disciplined. So for me, not drinking, not going out, and eating well, was never a problem. Not even after my career. The thing was that I said, okay, I don't want to see a very high contract. I don't care. I want to stay in a place where I can stay, where I can have also something of a nice life next to the volleyball. And then there was a place in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. And I already, also the year before I stopped, so we are speaking about 2003, 2004. That was my last year. In 2002, I already said, okay, I think I'm not going to play the whole year anymore because I had problems with my back, my hips. And so I prepared alone, physically, in the pool, exercises together with my old physiotherapist that I had in Ravenna. She gave me exercises. I went to the swimming pool, and my husband is a basketball trainer, also professional. And he was a trainer here where we live now. And in the morning, there was no one in the gym. So he helped me to do some exercises in the morning with the ball. I had just one volleyball. So he threw the ball and I just ran and set and everything. So, and when I was in good shape, I called my manager and said, okay, I'm ready. You can now look for a team for me. That was the year before, 2002, 2003. And I played in Reggio Emilia. The year after, I thought I wanted to stop, because if you're physically not in good shape, it's not so fun anymore. But I was like something like addicted to the volleyball and to the volleyball world, everything, the ambience. You miss the adrenaline. You have it in your. I was not ready to stop. So same. I prepared myself. Then I had a car accident in the summer. So a frontal, and I had a whiplash in my neck. So I had to wait. I had to prepare more physically. I had to wait a little bit to have some rest. And then in December, my manager found Las Palmas. So that's perfect. My husband, he left his team and he came with me. And he found something in the basketball there, because they had very high level basketball also with the Euroliga and everything. So very nice. And
Las Palmas in Spain.
In Spain. Las Palmas Canary Islands. Yes. And then we played there. So I did 6 months. I was there until the end of May. I started before in December until the end of May. And then I decided, okay, now it's enough. And the year after, they asked me to do the technical comment for the television. So I did that for 1 year. And the year after, one of my old teams in Jesi was in the highest league. They asked me if I wanted to be their manager and technical director. So helping with buying the team and everything around. And I did that for 5 years. So then in the meantime, I was team manager of the national team. And then again, I was with Avital Serender. He was the coach. So I know Avital very well. And again, I did that in 2012 again. And then for the first time, my husband had the opportunity to go to the best basketball academy in Rome. He is youth. He is head of the youth. He only until 18, 19 years old. He is the head of the coordinator and the coach. And then he had this opportunity to go, and I decided to go with him. And then I had some rest of the volleyball. So I took off, and I had time for myself. I recovered. I went a lot of times to see my family. Finally, I had a lot of time to have also some fun. And then after 4 years, we came back here in our own home, still between Ravenna and next to Ravenna. It's like 25 minutes. And in the pandemic, when it started, or just before, I started to watch some training in Ravenna. It wasn't not on the highest, but on the second highest level. And then after on the second training, I was there. The coach, he asked me, why don't you put your clothes on and you just help me? And so I did it for 3 years. And in the last year, I was also, again, technical director and coordinator and everything. But unfortunately, this year, the president, he put a lot of money in it. And as you know, it's crisis, economical crisis. And he started to say, I don't have the money anymore to put inside and I'm going to stop. And he stopped. And now in Ravenna, you don't have professional volleyball, women volleyball anymore. So it's really a pity because Ravenna, together with Modena, are the historical cities for the volleyball in Italy, with a very high level, with a lot of very good players that came out of their youth. So it's really a pity, not only for the energy that I and with my colleagues put in it, and now it's lost. But it's a pity that some cities, they don't survive those crises.
I understand. And as I said before, it has to be such an honor and joy to talk with you, to know about your life, about your volleyball life, your career, your success, your efforts to gain what you have gained. And I want to finally thank you enormously for your time. I can speak volleyball for hours, but I know we have things to do. And I want to thank you again and again, and also Gabi for making possible this conversation. And I want to send you many best wishes from Italy to Italy, to you, to your family, and a lot of success for your next project. So I'm very happy for this conversation. I know many people would like to see you and to know about you and to hear again what you're thinking about volleyball and your career. So that's what I have to say. I'm very pleased to talk to you and keep in touch and invite you to follow my channels and to tell your people, your friends about this channel, because I want to help to volleyball to grow and to help our communications thanks today with technology. So many thanks, Henriette, for your time, and keep in touch, and the best for you.
I thank you. It was really a pleasure, because it's for me it is the same. I can speak for hours about the volleyball and all the ideas, and of course we had only 1 hour, and you cannot touch every argument, but it's a really pleasure. And if even somebody wants to know something, they can write me. They can find me on the social media. No problem. And whenever you want, I am here if you wanted to know more. And of course, I followed you for many years already, and I will keep following you, because you have a lot of interest, players and coaches that you are interviewing. So yes, it was very nice, and it was a really pleasure from my side too.
Fantastic.
And good luck for you.
Many thanks.